Hello and welcome to another episode. Last week was really great launching the podcast, and I've got so much positive feedback from all of you, both here on this channel, but also on my Instagram and via email. So I just want to take a really quick moment and thank you again for your continuous support. It's really a win-win. I try to support you in the best way I can with the information and the knowledge that I share with you here on this channel, and I get your support in return. So I really love that. And if you enjoy our conversations, please subscribe to this channel. It helps me reach more women. And think about it, if you are learning something new and if you feel empowered at the end of each of these episodes, I'm sure there will be a lot more women who can learn from these conversations. Also, don't forget about a giveaway. Stay till the end and find out how to join the contest. Now, over the past few weeks, a lot of my clients that I work with in my coaching program had the same question. And it was the same question, but it was coming from different sessions with different clients. So I thought there must be something behind this. And if this is something that so many of my clients are struggling with, maybe there's something that you're struggling with as well. Maybe it's something that you're questioning yourself at times and you could not find the answer. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to share some insights with you here on this channel. So today we are going to talk about how you can differentiate between that voice in your head that pops up at time and it wants you to stay lazy and wants you to, it actually stops you from building that discipline. And how you can recognize when it's actually your hormonal levels that are low and it is your body asking for rest. At the same time, I want to give you a few tips on how you can avoid getting here, how you can avoid getting to this point where you don't know which voice it is in your head, whether it's your enemy or it's your ally. I want to be very honest with you. It is a very tricky one. It takes time to master it, but it's very doable. And once you start to differentiate between the two voices, you're going to feel very empowered. You're going to feel like the sky has no limits for you. My goal at the end of this episode is to help you make sense of the difference between the two voices. And if you want to build discipline that sticks and that at the same time keeps you safe and healthy as a woman, listen till the end. Now, the reason women find it more difficult to stay the course of discipline is really the same reason that helps you win or lose in life. It's the same thing that differentiates you from living in a female body or a male body. Can you guess what I'm talking about? Probably you already know. It really goes back to what we talked about in episode 2, mindset and hormones. And today I'm going to go in more detail about how these two topics cannot exist without each other. So ideally, you already have a basic understanding of what the hormones and the mindset is and how the two of them blend together. So if you haven't watched that episode, please make sure you watch it. Nowadays, we have so many podcasts, so many shows, so many motivational speakers that talk about discipline. And if you're here on this channel, I am sure you're one of those very ambitious women that want more out of life. And you know what I'm talking about. You know all those famous names that tell you that you have to keep on pushing, you have to build those rigid schedules for yourself if you want to stick to that routine that is going to build your discipline. So these motivational speakers tell you that, you have to discipline your mind, you have to finish the race, you have to push through even when your body cries and when your body needs rest. It's not actually your body needing rest, it's just your lazy voice talking you out of it. You have to finish what you started, there's no excuse. There are so many of these motivational quotes that I can think about. Wake up at 5 o'clock and do everything that you planned to do during the day. Otherwise, it means that you have this lazy brain and you cannot be disciplined. Basically, they say that if your mind starts to chatter and is trying to talk you out of it, you have to do it anyway. You have to finish what you started. You have to finish what you set your mind to. Now, on one hand, this is indeed correct, because keeping promises to yourself is the key to building self-confidence, and self-confidence is going to help you build that discipline. And discipline is really the thing that is going to shape you into a successful person. Think about it. If a friend asks you to meet at a coffee shop and you show up but they don't, and if they do it, let's say 3 days in a row, would you believe them the 10th day? Of course not. Would you trust that person? Not a chance. So the problem is that people lose trust in themselves because they self-sabotage themselves. You lose trust in yourself when you don't keep promises to yourself. Your mind doesn't trust you anymore if you keep making promises to yourself that you never keep. Then no wonder that you're going to fail, and no wonder that you're going to have low self-esteem, that you're going to start doubting everything that you're about to do. That's because your mind says, I don't trust you. I mean, you've committed so many times to do the things that you committed to and the things that you planned to, and you never did them. You never finished everything that you had on the list. So you have to start building trust with yourself. And the simplest way to start building this trust or rebuild the trust is to start keeping promises to yourself. These challenges on the internet. We had this challenge not so long ago, the 75 Hard Challenge, where you have to follow a strict list of, I think it was 10 things that you had to do every single day, and you had to do them consistently. Otherwise, you lost the challenge and you would have to start all over again. So you had to finish 75 days in a row, completing all the 10 items on the list. The thing is with these challenges, you're going to exhaust yourself around day 10 or so, and eventually you're going to give up. So when this happens, this will only reconfirm to your brain that it cannot trust you. And now the level of trust in yourself might be even lower than when you started the challenge in the first place. Do yourself a favor and really stay away from these types of challenges. They're not sustainable, especially for us women. And I'm going to explain why in a bit. Now, if you have a goal that really scares you, you have to try to break it down into small, achievable steps. And when I say small, I mean really, really small. Think about things like cleaning up the space around you or where you work, your desk, at your office. Make your bed every morning. Wake up at the same time every single morning. Don't snooze the alarm. Go to bed every single night at the same time. So it's really the small wins that you do consistently, they are going to move the needle for you. You have to show your mind that you can keep promises to yourself, because it's not the size of the item on the checklist or the size of that step. It's really the tick that matters. It's ticking off the items on the list, no matter how small they are, and you have to do it consistently. But here's something really interesting that a lot of motivational speakers don't talk about. Building discipline will be a different experience if you do it in your 30s or if you do it in your 50s. Now, I can only speak from my own experience in my 30s because that's the age where I'm at. I cannot speak on behalf of anyone in their 50s, but I do have some science that can prove what I'm about to say. So, when you remove hormonal fluctuations from the process of building discipline, you're missing the whole picture. And this is key for us women. So there was this study in 2021. It was a study of about 1,000 people. It was both men and women, and they were aged between 14 and 77. So the study revealed that after the early 50s, there was a significant drop in passion, perseverance, and positive outlook on pursuing new challenges. And a lot of people link this to laziness, but there is actually more to it. The study showed that certain changes in your body and in your hormones lead to these shifts in mood and in motivation, which make you actually naturally lazier as you age. So discipline might be something more difficult to achieve. Now, more than this, something that motivational speakers don't speak about is how women and men are built differently. We already know that men and women are very different on a daily basis. Women hormones are not the same every single day like men hormones are. Now, why am I telling you this? Because hormones have an impact on all aspects of your physiological and emotional needs, on the level of motivation, and also on the level of energy you have, and so many others. But men's hormones reset every single day, which means that every day a man is equipped hormonally to deliver on the same intensity, the same task, and the same schedule. So the word equipped, that's key here. So when that voice comes up in the mind of a man, it becomes a lot easier to distinguish that's the voice of that wants to keep a man lazy and undisciplined. Building discipline for a man really feels more like a linear process. Every day, the body of a man is well equipped to give that man an equal chance to build discipline. Now, for women, the story is a lot different. Women hormones work in cycles of typically 28 days, as you know by now. This means that a woman will be hormonally the same every 28 days or so. So a woman is equipped to perform the same task, the same intensity, and the same schedule every 28 days. This cycle is what we call the menstrual cycle. So as a woman, out of nowhere, you might find that your drive is very low. You don't have that get up and go feeling that you had the day before. What happened? What changed? When nothing, let's say in your environment changed, everything is the same in your environment, but your mind feels completely different. Your thoughts are different and your motivation, your inner dialogue is different. Does this mean that you have an undisciplined mind? Are you lazy? Let's bring some science in and try to explain what this is. The inner drive, the motivation, could be caused by the link between testosterone and brain chemicals. When testosterone binds to receptors in the brain and in the body, it triggers a release of endorphins and other neurotransmitters. So these neurotransmitters, they make you feel happy, motivated, they make you feel engaged. And testosterone also converts into DHT, which is dihydrotestosterone, which is another hormone that influences mood and cognition. And it can also impact your overall ambition. So men receive a boost of testosterone every single morning that gives them that state of get up and go. And it also impacts their sexual drive. You know when you sleep in bed next to a man, but then you wake up in a tent the next morning? That's what's happening. It's testosterone. So then the researchers at the University of Michigan, they conducted a study that found that the sex hormone estrogen could be for women what testosterone is for men. So the findings of this study were perfectly parallel to what was observed for power motivation and testosterone in men. In men, power motivation is associated with increased levels of testosterone, and in women, estrogen seems to be really critical in power motivation. Now, as you know from episode 3, estrogen is a dominant hormone in the first phase of the menstrual cycle, and this is the hormone that peaks just before ovulation. Now, testosterone also increases during the days just before ovulation. So around the time of ovulation, that's about mid of a full cycle, both these hormones, estrogen and testosterone, are going to be increased. You may get this instant boost of confidence and drive. And if you're not tracking your cycle, this can catch you by surprise. Out of nowhere, you have this boost of motivation and energy. You feel invincible. You feel very confident, very strong. You feel more powerful than you usually feel. So the feeling of being invincible might make you feel tempted to plan ahead of time. So you're going to have this drive and motivation that are going to make you make plans for you that are not realistic, and you're going to make them ahead of time. You're going to plan for the weeks up front. This might be the time when you want to sign up on those 75 hard challenges that we just talked about. So then what happens when you enter the luteal phase, where both estrogen and testosterone levels are going to decline, and then progesterone is going to be the other hormone that takes the reins, things are going to take a different turn for you. Because progesterone's role is to protect you, to keep you safe in case you got pregnant that cycle. So all your ambitious plans will sound very risky, which is not what progesterone wants you to do. Progesterone wants to keep you safe. It wants you to stay indoors. It wants you to stay with a group of friends that you feel safe with. It wants you to protect you from exposing yourself to unknown situations, to new things. So your ambitious plans to conquer the world and do all these crazy challenges will be off the table. So now you're faced with two options. You can respect your body's wish to slow down, and you're going to start to limit these risky adventures. You're going to start cutting off some of the things that you plan to do. You're not going to complete everything on the list. You're going to actually tune into your body's rhythm. And if you do that, basically now you are breaking the promises you made to yourself, right? You promised yourself that you will do this list of 100 different things, but you cannot do it. Your body is not equipped to do them repeatedly every single day. So that inner voice will tell you now that you cannot be trusted because you cannot commit to the plans that you made for yourself. There's another thing that can happen. Let's say now that you've built some discipline, you want to push through, you want to finish what you started, what you planned for yourself when estrogen and testosterone were really high. So now you push through, but that's going to lead to a lot of stress and exhaustion. Because you're fighting your body that is trying to tell you that you need to slow down. So you might not feel it in the first run. Your body is really resilient. So signs might not show up in the first cycle when you're pushing through, but you might feel it later on. The thing is, your body is going to show you in different ways that you are doing things that are not aligned with what it needs. So this could be like a really low immunity, which might lead to a flu or other illnesses, fatigue, missed periods, or any other cycle-related issues like very uncomfortable, painful cycles, really weird cycle signs throughout, like spotting and just random pains throughout the cycle, acne. There are so many signs. Again, all these symptoms that are showing up in your cycle, they are the language that your body uses to tell you that the actions that you're taking on a daily basis, they are not aligned with what your body needs, with how your body is designed. Your body is designed in a cyclical pattern, right? We have these ups and downs, the ebb and flow of hormones that are teaching us, that are trying to guide us to do things that are aligned with this natural rhythm. So all these symptoms that are going to show up eventually are going to slow you down. And because now you are slowed down, you're not going to be able to follow through your ambitious plans over and over again. So again, you're going to break the promise to yourself, and now you lost trust in yourself and you're back to where you started. Do you now see why knowing what each hormone is up to at the different phases in a cycle is so important? You would not be faced with these two options that will both make you lose trust in yourself eventually. Okay, so now you might ask, okay, so what do you propose, Theo? What do I do from here? Why does this have to be so complicated for us women? Why cannot just have these repetitive schedules every single day just to follow through and build that discipline that we want? Well, it's not necessarily complicated. I mean, it is a complex landscape that we have to navigate as women. And that's what I've been doing over the past few years. I am untangling all these complexities of what it means to be living in a female body. And I made it my mission to translate these complexities into a language that is more accessible, because I really believe that it is your right to understand what is going on in your body as a female. And I believe that knowledge is power when you learn about it in a structured way, and you can turn it into empowerment when you apply the knowledge into your own life. So how can you apply this knowledge about the fluctuations of hormones in real life? And how can you turn it into an empowering tool? So I develop a framework or a protocol, if you want to call it that way. So this framework is designed to help you rebuild that trust in yourself, rebuild trust in your body, your mind, your capabilities. Because once you rebuild this trust, you build that long-term self-confidence that you're looking for. And that's what's going to turn you into that successful person. And you want to build it for the long run. And as a result of that, you're going to be able to differentiate between the voice of laziness and the voice of comfort, that voice that wants to keep you in your comfort zone, and the voice of your cyclical body, the voice that has different needs at different phases in the menstrual cycle. So this is the framework that I teach in my coaching programs and that I apply in my daily life. It's actually the core of my group coaching program. And one big part of it is linked to non-negotiables. Now, I interpret the non-negotiables somehow different than, the conventional non-negotiables that all these motivational speakers tell you about. I mean, the principle is quite the same. there are no excuses when it comes to these actions, but my list of negotiables takes into account the needs of the cyclical body. So instead of pushing the same non-negotiables that will eventually burn out all the resources in your body, my non-negotiables respect the natural rhythms of a cyclical body, and it actually helps the body recover. As you know, my goal is to keep these conversations on this podcast really short so that you can learn on the go. So I actually need an entire episode to talk to you about these non-negotiables and how you can build them and how you can start to incorporate them into your life. And you know what? We have a deal. Let's make a deal. I will make another episode where I'm going to be mainly talking about non-negotiables. So stay tuned. Now, that's about for today. I really hope that you learned something new, and I hope that you liked this episode. And if you did, share it with another woman in your life that can learn from these conversations. And as I told you at the very beginning of this episode, I have a gift for you. 2 lucky winners who subscribe and leave a written review of the show on the platform where you're watching this or listening to this will win a spot in my next group coaching program. You can learn more about the program on thesyncway.com/coaching and of course on my Instagram page. I will be announcing the winners in an upcoming episode. When you subscribe to the channel, the algorithm helps me reach more women who have the same interest as you. So if you want more women to learn about these conversations and these topics, please join me and hit that subscribe button. I appreciate you, and till next time.